Hi, how are you? Hope you're having a good day so far. Please subscribe before you go any further. If you haven't subscribed, I really do appreciate it when I see the numbers go up. And actually, I think you'll be here because of the news that I wouldn't say is massively surprising, but also shocking in the world of women's football, as Jonas Eidevall has resigned as head coach from Arsenal Women, leaves his post with immediate effect. Now, we're 4 games into this season. Is that a little bit full on? Was Jonas pushed out the door? It looks like when you read the statement from Arsenal, they're looking at replacing him with a top coach as soon as possible. They thank him for his time. What made Jonas hand in his resignation? And did Arsenal force his hand ever so slightly? These are the questions we're left to asking off the back of this resignation this morning. Lots to discuss, I have to say. Rush and I have discussed it a number of times on the channel. I felt after the defeat against Chelsea, I don't know if I said it on the show, but I felt that signalled the end of his time at the club. Reason being, you're now looking at the league title race and relying on the likes of City, Chelsea, possibly Brighton, Manchester United to now drop points. And I know we're only 4 games in, but as we know, the Women's League is smaller, so there aren't as many fixtures. So for Arsenal to find themselves in that situation now looking at 5, which would be 6 seasons without a title win, is unacceptable for Arsenal women. Especially when you look at the sexy stadium of the Emirates that are these games being performed at week in, week out now. So I think that's reason 1. Reason 2, I feel like ever so slightly Jonas Eidevall's lost the dressing room. You know, when you saw his huddle at the end of the game, I felt like he had to kind of gather the women back in and the team and the staff back in to go put their hands in. Everyone was deflated. I think the writing was on the wall then. You can have your say on that. You can let me know what you think has happened here. And I think it's important to say, and if I've ever come across insensitive to Jonas, because Rush and I were, joking about the accent and stuff like that, I've always remained, Jonas is a good man. He's a very, very good man. I've interviewed him a number of times. He seems like a nice man, and that's important. That goes a long way. You speak to him and you cannot say a bad thing about him there to his face. And I think that has to be said in this moment. But as we know in this business, it's results driven. And I think if the Arsenal team and the women's game want to kick on, they have to follow that model. Simply have to follow that model. They need results. They need to be competing to win the league title at this stage of the season. They can't be dropping out of that race, even though mathematically, of course, they're still in it, but to rely now on other teams is unacceptable for Arsenal, especially when you look at the squad there as well. So Rennie Sledgers is to take charge on an interim basis. She's a first team coach. And as I said from the Arsenal statement, their plan now is to look at who would be the next best replacement for Jonas Eidevall. So actually, you'll know this yourself if you're here often and a women's football fan. Who did you see at the Emirates the other day aside from Emma Hayes? Casey Stoney. Casey Stoney apparently, I want to say, was at Boreham Wood recently too. I've had a number of people tell me that on social media, on Instagram DM, on Twitter DM. So, and that we believe she's been there too. Perhaps it's been something that's been coming for a while. Now, let's not forget the success. When I say success, the uphill battle she had when looking after Manchester United, but she did well with that squad, didn't she? And then going to San Diego Wave, she was let go from that role there after a winless streak of 7 games. She's back here in the UK. She's an Arsenal legend. We call Casey Stoney an Arsenal legend, right? Don't we? I think we do. And I think that's acceptable. So like we say, Rennie Sledger's in interim charge, and I think we'll hear an announcement sooner rather than later. If it's Casey Stoney, it makes perfect sense. I think the glove fits. Again, let me know your thoughts on that. The other name being thrown into the mix is Nick Cushion, former Manchester City head coach. Again, did well at the club. He won them a title, didn't he? Did he win them a title? I think he did. Should have researched that. But another solid coach who might be in the frame. And actually, if you like the vlogs like myself, quite often a lot of you comment Ian Wright for the job. Listen, I don't know if that's possible, but he's an Arsenal legend and everybody loves a little bit of that. But I think it's going to be between Casey Stoney and Nick Cushion. Obviously, that's not for sure. But I could see Casey Stoney being a fit. I also think it's important to look at the English managers who we don't often see now in women's football over here, you know. And Carla Ward has spoken to Rush and I about this, the idea of English female managers being protected. You know, we're seeing more men coming into the game, more men from overseas, more men from big clubs coming from big clubs for big money now in this league. I think she could be right for the job, but if that dressing room is in a little bit of disarray, she seems like the character who could come in and unite. I don't know. I feel like she could come in and unite, and we have to highlight the importance of the Arsenal women's job. The fan base, the Emirates, one of the leading clubs when it comes to women's football, the budget, the players, the list goes on and on. It's a huge opportunity for a manager, isn't it? And if you're a manager, imagine you want that role. I saw a couple of interviews, one from Beth Meads post-match at the Emirates when she was talking about fans needing to come together and support the team at this time when things are a little bit blue, shall we call it, or things are a little bit low. And then I think a number of fans called Beth out for making it out that they weren't supported when they've got 40,000 fans at the Emirates. And that's not what she meant. So she had to come out and say, apologies, we understand and we respect and appreciate all the support that we get on match day. I think it was more an online type thing, which for the first time ever, I don't know about you, this has been such a wave, a tidal wave of online comments, even press comments, paper comments, where people are really starting to look and going, is he fit for the job? Does he need to go now? And I've never really seen that in women's football. And the time when we did see it, due to results, shall we say, was Mark Skinner last season at Manchester United. And I remember one of the crowd shots, there was a fan holding up a hashtag Skinner out poster, and Rachel Williams told the fan to take it down, and the fan took it down. So it's not something we see often. This is something I think that even maybe the Arsenal squad will be getting themselves used to and familiarised with, that when you are on the back foot, when you're not putting in winning performances, when you're getting smashed 5-2 against Bayern Munich and you've only won one of the opening 4 games against an opposition like Leicester, no disrespect, you're now going to start hearing that noise from the fans. Now, I think it's the right thing in order for the women's game to grow, but I think there's one thing to really remember here, and that's be kind. But that is be kind. Let's not get personal. You know, this is somebody's job. I have no doubt in my mind that Jonas Eidevall didn't give it 100%. You know, I think he did. And I think there's similar contrast between Jonas Eidevall and Erik ten Hag at Manchester United. Is he the one? Is he the future? Is he going to bring long-term success? I don't think so. Will he win you a trophy? Yes, he might win you the Conti Cup. Yes, he might pick up an FA Cup along the way or go on a good run in a competition. Look at the Champions League in the 22-23 season. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. It was such a good, promising time. But is it signalling long-term success? I don't think it was. So therefore, I think the decision is right from Arsenal women. I don't think we can say anything else personally about it. I had a quick conversation with Jim White and Simon Jordan on TalkSport half hour after the news came out. And, you know, Simon had brought up what was such a disgrace, the incident between Jonas Eidevall and Emma Hayes after the last Conti Cup when Arsenal won again. And I thought Jonas, like, that's a prime example of him handling himself so well, you know, because if the shoe was on the other foot and Jonas had put his hands on Emma Hayes or given her a shove, I think it would have been just World War III. It would have been so wrong. And I think in that moment, he made it very clear, there's no hard feelings here. It's a game of emotions, and the emotions came out, and it's cool, we move on. And I thought that was really classy of him. Another thing to point out, which I've heard brought up a lot over the last wee while, and I can't fault people for their opinions, is the incident, ever so slight incident. I'm going to call it an incident because I didn't like what I saw then either, when it looked like he kind of put his fingers into Viv Miedema's back and kind of gave her a little shove as she was about to be subbed on. I didn't like that look. I didn't like what I think I saw there, but we never heard anything from Vivianne Miedema or Jonas Eidevall otherwise from that moment. So I think we have to trust that the two of them sorted that out between them. I think we do have to trust that, even though I didn't like what I saw there either. I think from not qualifying for the Champions League last summer after signing Alessia Russo signalled the start of the end for me, and I thought the season was disappointing. You can't rely on the Conti Cup as success when you're Arsenal women. You simply can. Maybe that's harsh. So who is next to come into the club? Is it Casey Stoney? Is it Nick Cushing? Some people saying it'll be Carla Ward. I don't think this is the job Carla Ward is looking for. I think she is genuinely loving the time that she's got back to herself at the minute, and she's a busy woman. She's a mother. She's got a lot on her plate. You can let me know if it's going to be an English manager or will it be a foreign manager. You can have your say, but for now it is Rennie Sledger's taking charge on an interim basis, and tomorrow in the Champions League it's Valengara or Valerenga. What is it called? Valerenga? I don't know. I can't read. And do you know what? Maybe we'll see Jonas Eidevall returning to women's football. I think he's done good for the club. He has done good for the club. But let's not take away the job that he's done in men's football either. Helsingborg, he was the assistant there to Henrik Larsson. Now, as Celtic fans in our house, Henrik Larsson's assistant is a well-respected person. And I think coming to Arsenal and bringing that respected position that he had over here, I did appreciate also Lunds and Rosengard. He had time there as well with the men's team. So perhaps that'll be where he goes next. Maybe he'll head back to Sweden. But we wish him all the best of luck. It's important to be kind. It's important to be kind. This is somebody's job. This is someone's livelihood. It really is. Madness. Absolutely madness. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to speak to you about. Oh yeah. Will the players turn it around? How does this impact the dressing room for me is the key psychological bit to monitor here. If they're going to have a bounce back, which I think they will get back to winning ways this week against Valerenga, I think they'll be fine in the WSL this weekend. But will we see a different style of play from the women too? Will there be something switched in Alessia Russo and Stina Blackstenius where they start scoring goals, they are creating chances, as Russo would say, and as Jonas would say, but will they start really finishing their dinner? Will they start picking up points and go on a run and be that side we know that they can be? I think that's the interesting thing to monitor here. Get in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Pardon me, it's a big day and it's a bit crazy at the same time. Please like, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Love you. Bye.